Initiative in the agric world, giving you the information you require to start, build, and turn around agricultural opportunities.
Tune in to Lagos Talks 91.3 every Monday at 5:30 p.m. for AgribbusinessNG with Africanfarmer.
In agribusiness, what is selling is different from what will sell. Focus on what will sell.
This is AgricbusinessNG.
You're welcome to Agribusiness with African Farmer. It's a beautiful Monday evening and it's 36 minutes past the hour of 5. Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, Michelle. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
I hope.
When last did you wash your hands?
Oh, in fact, I've lost count.
That's good. That's good. Keep washing it.
And sanitizing.
Oh, you've been sanitizing. Good.
These people have made a lot of money from me.
I know. I bought my face mask over the weekend.
Oh, I bought a pack. I've been using a
Wow.
pack. You know, I go
Wow.
out a lot.
Wow. Yeah, I know. That's true. That's true. That's true. Wow. So, how is agribusiness in this pandemic, basically? What's the latest? You know, you're always on the trend.
So it's sweet.
Mm.
Some are making money. Some are making serious money, especially the suppliers.
Wow.
The farmers are crying. Quite a lot of them are crying because they can't move their produce.
Yeah.
Someone also reached out to me today. They need to sell 2,300 crates of eggs along Ekwe. You know, so if you stay in an estate, this is a transaction for you. Or if you have access or you're looking for how to supply eggs, I have someone that has the eggs fresh. They produce about 400 crates per day.
Wow.
And right now they can't really move. Their customers can't reach them and they can't move like they used to. So that's a challenge for some. And many farmers don't even have access to input. And so the Tomato Jos lady sent a tweet out that the farmers in Jos are dumping away their potatoes because of access to markets also. So access to market is a big challenge for the farmers. And what happens with the farmers is once they can't sell one crop, they don't have enough money to grow the other, and so they either reduce what they produce or they just shut down. And
that's food shortage right there if that happens.
So it's a clear present danger, like I would say. So so there are two sides to the coin. Some are smiling and some are crying.
Wow. I'm really worried. I'm really worried, and I think that's where the value chain that we have been stressing comes in. If we had logistics company that were willing to partner, and also maybe with marketers, people who, it'll be easier.
I'm waiting for what the president will say
today.
Today, based on what he says today, to determine if we're moving in the right direction, because COVID will not hurt people as much as hunger. The vice, the attacks that is on the increase now is a function of hunger. So the damages that hunger is likely to trigger is going to be more than the COVID. So I'm hoping that the president addresses the nation and takes care of all these loopholes and makes agric, the value chain, as equal to the precautions and code they're taking for COVID. So it's 50-50.
It's equally
health
important.
And food, it's like chicken and egg scenario. You can't say chicken is better than the egg or the egg is better than the chicken. So it's a 50-50 that all other nations are doing together. So we need to get it right also.
Indeed. Today we'll be talking about what they don't teach us in agribusiness schools. Yes. Now, see, the thing is, agriculture was contributing immensely to Nigeria's GDP. It still is, actually, but it was a huge part of our economy way before the discovery of oil. Now, agribusiness in Nigeria is still at the development phase, with agriculture, called agriculture. Now, Nigeria's agriculture system is underdeveloped due to different factors. We've gone through this before. Mechanization, poor quality of inputs affecting the yield of farmers, also the lack of power supply. There are loads of contributing efforts from different sectors of the economy that leads to a thriving agribusiness in the country. Now, the educational institutions in Nigeria have major roles also in redirecting how agriculture is perceived in mainstream society. And that's a fantastic thing for them to be looking at right now. It's very, very important. Before we commence on today's topic, what is being taught in agribusiness schools, and do they really teach it right? That's one thing I want to know from you. I don't know if people really get the most.
So most, not all. Most of the business schools, they teach one-sided. There's a lot of theoretical approach, and no exposure to practicals. I went to College of Agriculture. I'm a proud student, ex-student of Federal College of Agriculture, Akure,
Right.
Plantation, Ibadan. If you score 80 in the classroom and you fail practical, you will carry it over. If you miss 2 classes in a session, in a semester, 2 days you come back to retake it for 2 weeks. So you have the option, you have the option to finish the exams, and you stay back for 2 weeks. When you miss 2 days, you'll be working every day free
At the farm.
And so it's a balance.
When was this?
I think it was 95.
Wow.
So in year 1, like in College of Agriculture in Akure, or all the colleges of agriculture, UNAB is also top notch, and okay. Yeah, outside those 2, the colleges of agriculture. And so in year 1, you would plant and harvest an average of 7, maximum of 10 crops. Yam,
in year 1.
In year 1, you have to do that.
Wow.
In year 2, you have to take care of all the animals, rabbits, pigs, cows. You actually move around with the cows, through the paddock. You are the one guiding them. You must do it. You have to drive the tractor. You have to walk, name the animal. And so when you now go to the current business schools, and at a level, you can't do that. At a level, you can't do that, but you must be taught the practicals. But at a younger stage, you should be doing that. And so right now you hear a lot of theories, and most importantly, they're not teaching best practices. And so at the end of the day, during every production cycle, across the value chain, really, because many people were taught by people who didn't know the best practices. Between 3 and 5 years down the line, something shows up. What? Maybe a challenge most times. The law of diminishing returns shows up. 3 years to 5 years, and because they were not taught the best practice, because their coach's coach did not know best practice, so it shows. A lot of things show up.
Yeah.
So we need to get back to the basics, where we're able to teach people what they need to know. Like in my year 1, 2, everybody was made. Then I protested. I said it was barbaric. You had to go to the bush, cut firewood, and put it on your head, no wheelbarrow, and bring it to the processing lab plant, where all of us, you can't graduate without knowing how to fry gari. And so you bring the wood, and they will grade the wood. And so here I was, Boti boy. I carried my wood. I'm still going to look for that picture, with 3 horns, so to speak, but not big. And I was going to that location. I saw village boys carrying heavy logs.
Wow.
I knew that I would fail. So, and you could not contract people.
No.
You know,
You had to do it
you had
yourself.
to do it yourself. And so I had to pack a lot. But they told us that it's not meant for you to carry the wood. It's meant for you to empathize with your labor. Because if you don't know what they feel,
what they go through,
you just carry it. So when we were to stake yams, you have to tie it.
Yeah.
You know, I brought ropes. You know, just thinking next generation.
Yeah.
And they told me, ropes, no. Go to the bush and get vines.
Vines?
I'm like, vine? I said, that does not help us in the future. And the lecturer told me, he said, over 80% of where you will have farms that you can expand, you will not find ropes. What do you do when the rope finishes? That's why we're training you now.
Wow.
So then, if your rope finishes, you get into the bush, teach your people how to get the vines, and the job gets done.
And the vines are just as
stronger than the ropes.
Wow.
You know, so a lot of all those things is missing now.
But it helped build you to where you are today.
Yeah, so I can't be staking yams, and now, how many years later, almost 20 plus years later, I can't be doing something. I cannot be stranded in the farm. And because sometimes you are 15 kilometers away from the urban center, you have to improvise.
We have to go on a break. We have to go on a break real quick because I'm enjoying this conversation, but we also have to talk about the business aspect of agriculture. I want to know if it's also being taught in schools or it's just the farm, the practical. What about the business angle that makes the agriculture economy thrive on its own? We'll come back to that after this quick break. You're listening to African Farmer, and he's here talking about agribusiness. Stay with us.
Victor, I don't tire. I want to do as others they do. Hey, man. Last it be like say your village people don't catch you. I sure said they don't prepare special room for you for village. Waiting at all. I bet you never hear say technology don't enter agriculture. You fit plant plenty crops like corn, cassava, rice, and vegetables. You not go even touch any of glass, and you go get Boku harvest. Not to contact AF Marketing, no. What did they do? AF Marketing, they sell correct seed, ogbonge fertilizer, and agrochemicals. Then go even give you agribusiness advice. Confit help you find market for your produce. No waste time, oh. Happy you never say government don't close border. Not to make money remain. No pour water inside basket, too. Make you call AF Marketing now on top 090 6000 6462. Make I call them again, make you hear them well. 090 6000 6462. Or you fit visit their office for 17A Allen Avenue, Ikeja. No dollar. AF Marketing. Now you we get for mine.
This is AgricbusinessNG.
Welcome back to Agribusiness with African Farmer. It's always an experience when we listen to him talk. We can feel the passion, we can hear the experience, we can hear the need for us to challenge ourselves as an emerging economy to do better with our agricultural sector. And that's what African Farmer does every Monday from 5:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. He's always stressing on the need for us to put in much in the value chain. Let's talk about the business aspect. You were just talking about your interesting story and experience from university and you being an agric student, the practical side. What about the business side? Was that also incorporated?
Okay, so they teach the business side in most of the schools, but not as much as they ought to. So they train, so with the ND, HND is better because they train you to go and start. But some business aspect is missing in terms of the branding. You know, how to brand, you know, HR, admin, those are missing in the schools. But in the core business schools, the big names, they focus a lot on the business and less on the practicals. So they'll talk the theory of practical, and if you ask anybody who is practicing, everything will change. If it doesn't change this year, it changes next year. Either it's climate change that you have to adjust, or you use a chemical and you have to adapt. You know, so something is always changing, and that's why I always emphasize community. However, I would like to go into an aspect that is not taught in business schools at all.
So what is that, and where do we learn it?
So, which is the spiritual side of agric?
There's
Now,
a spiritual part of
yeah,
agriculture.
there is a spiritual side to agric, and I would like to appeal to the listener today to, pay attention. Yeah, because it is today's program is not a religious program. When we're talking about it's being spiritual, they are two different things.
Okay.
And so I may talk about the Bible a lot, but I have one or two things about the Quran also.
Okay.
And so why do I say the spiritual? Right now, I see many people who want to run into production, which is not a bad idea. Okay, because we need more production coming out, especially from educated people.
Yeah.
However, there are realities in the field that many people don't pay attention to. So now they go to the business schools, do a good feasibility, and dash to the farms. In India, last year, January, I went to study, look around on small equipment, cottage, how they run their farms.
Okay.
And I met there's what you call tissue culture, where you want to multiply pineapple. You can multiply the crown, the head of pineapple, to like 500 places in a lab.
Okay.
So I met the guy and I said, how did you start your business? Oh, he said, before you start business in Gujarat, that's where Mahatma Gandhi is from, that you first, for 7 days, you have to appeal to the god of business.
There's a god of business.
There's a god of business there. And so if you go to some Asians, their offices, there's always
the Buddha
at the corner, some of the Indians, at the corner piece, angle 90, there's always a photograph, and there's always Nigerian currency, and there's incense being burnt there.
Where?
Check most of some, foreign nationals. It's everywhere, and I stand to be corrected. There's always incense being burnt, and there's Nigerian currency there, not their currency.
Why Nigerian currency?
Yeah, because it's spiritual. Now, so as simple as there was a time I planted corn, and my corn was not growing again. It stopped growing.
This is interesting.
And I had 150 acres then irrigated, and the corn stopped growing to a level. So we were fertilizing, doing everything, it wasn't growing. Until I just employed a new staff, and he told me, sir, he belongs to the Kerubu, and he says, sir, they opened my eyes to see that they've buried something on your farm. And some of these things don't require you going to an imam or a bishop to pray. These are things you take care of. But if you're not aware, so
you might ignore it completely.
Yeah. So I had a dream same day, and I saw that there was a tree they had cut, but the trunk was there, and a breeze that could not lift a paper lifted the big trunk and rolled it away, and I saw something roll out, and I screamed from my sleep, and I knew something had happened, and I prayed, and the next morning when I got to farm, I was asking them, this thing is not growing. I'd called some professors who had come, corn professors, who said, with your record, everything is okay. I said, me too, I know, sir, but the corn is not growing. And the man now said to me, well, he doesn't understand. So the next day, it's always good to be good to the lower earning guys on the farm. So I met them in one, like 5 of them talking, and the guy I just gave them money for drinks, and said, hey, this guy is good. The last farmer that used the land was very wicked to them. That he was always trying to bring rain off season instead of buying getting irrigation equipment. That pointed at that is where we buried like pig, pigeon, mentioned about 5 animals for them to use to attract rain. And so every year they're supposed to be atoning those things. So my corn stopped growing
because you weren't doing that.
I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
But it cost me a lot. I'll share another story. I went to speak in a road trip program, 9130, and I shared this experience, and I now saw a contemporary in secondary school come to me and say, this happened to me too. He went to rent a poultry pen, and when he rented the poultry pen, he was just losing money. He retired and used all this money to go start the poultry. He set up the poultry, and the birds were dying. Just about 2 weeks to maturity, they were dying in their thousands. And so he now decided, year 3, he said, I've had enough. And he now wanted to shut it down. So he now went to wash the car.
Yeah.
And one of the guys, he met a guy and said, Oga, what are you doing? He said, I run that farm. He said, you run that farm? Oh, you should have told me that the owner of the farm, when they built the pens for them, that he did not complete their payment and cheated them. So they placed a charm on the farm that nobody will prosper there. So the guy went to rent a farm, and he said, Oga, no problem, we'll lift what we put there. But the guy said, I've lost all my gratuity. And so it's crucial to pay attention. There's a lady I went to consult for in Ijebu, the Axis. So she spent about 100 million on the farm, but she could not just understand why birds were dying. And so I said to her, okay, I went round, everything was technically sound. Okay, so there's what I call farming by revelation. The second edition of the book is coming out, and that's what I say, what they don't teach you in agribusiness schools. So I said to her, tell me, how did you get the land? Because I couldn't find. She said, she said the community sold it to me. That was the first settlement that the community settled when they came to that location. Okay. I said, okay. Did they give you any instruction? They said yes. So the generations have died. Their children's children are the ones there. They said, they told me not to cut that tree. That's the foundation. I said, yeah, okay. And I told her, call those people and say, what did their fathers say they do to the tree? They said, twice or thrice a year, there are sacrifices they make to the tree. But the generations, they don't do it.
Modern day people. So
they said they must sacrifice some things. And so the blood of the of the chickens were dying just like that. So some of those things can be taken care of. And I'll share this before we open the line.
Go ahead.
And there was a particular period I was running a farm also in the same location, and we planted corn, dry season. And I called my staff and I said, one evening we plowed about 100 acres that we wanted to plant the next batch, and I saw monkeys, about 200, and I'm not exaggerating, moving in colony. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I asked, how do you resolve monkey? They said, monkey normally finishes corn around that, they call it okyogun. Yeah. So I said, yeah, okay, so what do we do? And so they called me, and we pray every morning. We even speak in tongues. Yeah. And so they told me that what we normally would do is that we do 2 things, and we'll visit the herbalist. So I said, okay, so what? I said, number 1, they would use the skull of a monkey, mix it with the seeds, do some incantations, and plant the corn. That when they plant, even government staff, that's how they protect the corn and everybody. So monkeys won't eat the corn until harvesting. If you are harvesting fresh, you must sell everything at once, because once you take one, anywhere monkeys are in the whole world, they are migrating to the farm, except you allow it dry. Yeah. So I said, okay, option 2. Option 1, I can't do that. Yeah. Option 2, they now told me that, they will invoke spirits. The owner of the farm, they will come to him. He will be naked, walk with the back into the farm, and every time he needs to come in, he must walk through the back. The squirrel will not eat anything.
Not even a squirrel.
Nothing will eat anything there. And if anybody attempts to steal, that the spirits will beat the people out. So I went round to find out options. And they told me that no, that's how all of us do it. Huge community,
Yeah.
talking about almost 7,000 acres. That's how all of them do it. I said, okay, my faith, my belief can allow me to do this. And I went back to prayer. I said, Lord, I can't do this.
Yeah.
You know, and in the night, I was praying overnight because the monkeys I saw would devour the investment, and I took a loan. And so God spoke to me and said, when I sent Adam and Eve out of the garden, what did I do? I said, yeah, you placed an angel with a sword of fire. And he said, yeah, that's what is being counterfeited. They are using spirits to protect the farm. You also go to the farm and say that angels, speak to angels to protect your farm. And I got back, and yeah, we still had some security, but I got and I did that. Monkeys still ate out of it, very less than 1%, because the way God made it is that animals must eat out of your farm, but they did not destroy it. Now, so what am I saying? So as simple as bless this food.
It's necessary.
If they use the skull of monkeys to make incantations. Now, so all this go on and on and on. Most of those things is spiritual. You do not know when you are going, especially into production, you do not know what is happening there.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. So, and I'm not saying Christian or Muslim now. I'm saying however spiritual you are, pray. It doesn't happen in Europe. It doesn't happen in Spain. But here, it happens. And if you read history of American farmers, they used to do all these things also. They used to do it. You know, so it's crucial that you pay attention to the location. One day we were praying, not really praying. I had a meeting with like 10 women, wanted to fund them, like 8 p.m. And they were to pray. So the norm is if a Christian starts, the Muslim finishes. So I now said, okay, pray. The first thing I heard was, Eriwoya, Eriwoya, Eriwoya. Eriwoya is an occult way of starting praying.
Oh.
You know, and well, don't let me say occult. Traditional.
Okay.
Traditional means of praying.
Okay.
And all the Christians, all the Muslims responded the way they normally respond. So I was shocked. I was like, what?
You guys know.
You guys know. But it's an accepted thing. So I thought to myself, so if they feel that they've been cheated, they won't go to Afar who will say, this is what the Quran says. They won't go to the pastor who says, forgive God. They will say, Riwoya. And they will deal with you spiritually. And what that means is that if they paid for land and some of them were cheated in when they were sharing the money, then they go back to take care of you. And I've seen this happen over and over and over. I'll share one more story.
How come people are not talking about this?
Yeah, because many people don't have this experience. They just think things are not working. But they don't know why things are not working.
Share the other story.
When my dad started his rice farm, he actually related this to me. Started his rice farm. He had planted 700 acres of corn. Of rice. He got the combined harvester. I think that was the 83. And the combined harvester got there and he did start. The white guy. The third day, white guy was upset for a brand new equipment that they started in Ibadan. Did not work. And so he said he was going back. And one prophet walked in. He's like Fualaye. That's where the foundation of Ayobabalola CAC. And the prophet just walked in and said, God said that there's an equipment that is not working here. That buy 2 crates of Fanta with 48 white handkerchiefs and call the women at the edge of the farm that you want to celebrate the new equipment. And so they did that. And my dad said 48 women showed up. That they didn't know how. They were just like 4, but 48 showed up. And they said to him, in the midst of everybody there, that, oh, let's see the equipment work. And they said it's not working. And they said, no, it's working. They said it's not working. They said, we've been on this for 3 days. Anyway, the white guy got upset and my dad said, start the equipment. And they started it once. And the thing worked, operated. And they now told my dad, so how does it work? How does it harvest 1 acre, 2 acre?
Yeah.
And my dad said, oh no, it can't work on 1 acre, 2 acre because it's meant for large farms. They now said, oh, we thought it would take our source of income because they harvest manually. 1 acre, 2 acre. So they thought the equipment will harvest their 1 acre, 2 acre, so they will be out of job. So they spiritually locked the machine. But guess what? My dad, we lost about 40% of the rice because it was at the right stage that they brought it. Now, so what am I saying is, from that experience, and I knew that many years back, when I go to a new community, you first go and engage them. You carry out a CSR for them, however small. If you don't carry out a CSR, that is most of the things they don't teach you in the business school, do something small. Show empathy. Show you care. You don't show you care, you would have issues later. So it's very crucial that you do that. And I'll ask you, just to show that agric is spiritual. When I was serving in Jigawa, I set up a bee farm. I took some facilities from my copper friends, and I could not sell my honey. And I prayed that day. I said, Lord, I need your help because I was in debt. And someone who studied abroad, who, the guys that study abroad and come to do NYC, when he came, he knocked my door next morning and said, because my surname is Mogaji, so he thought I was Muslim. And he said to me, oh, do you know that bees, honey is in the Quran? I said, I don't know because I've not read the Quran. And he handed me Arabic and English Quran, and I read the Quran, and I saw Surah 16, 68 to 69. So if you're listening, you're Muslim, please read it. And let me let me try and quickly just read that.
Okay.
And to show that honey, as simple as honey, is spiritual. He says, and for a beekeeper listening can attest to it. And he says, and the Lord inspired to the bees, take for yourself among the mountains houses and among the trees, and in which they construct. That is the trees, the houses the bees construct, the ones that humans construct, the mountains. He said, then eat from all the flowers and follow the ways of the Lord laid down for you. There emerges from their bellies a drink, varying in colors, in which there is healing for people. And that is what honey has different colors. It visits different nectars. I'm trying to say that this is written in the Quran, and the Bible says, Proverbs, I think 24, I think I wrote that now, 24:13 said, eat honey for it is good. So you find a lot of honey in the Quran, a lot of honey in the Bible. And so when I wasn't able to sell, the moment I read this, I went around talking to educated senior civil servants. What does the Quran say about honey? Many of them will say, I don't know. I said, you don't read the Quran? I now open the Quran, and the moment they now see in the Quran, I now say, this is honey, buy. So the Muslims keep honey at home with the belief, what I learned, is that it pursues evil things and evil spirits. So a lot of the things we do is still spiritual. In the Bible, it says, and God created everything. It says, let the creatures in the sea come up. That's fish. Till tomorrow. And after that, he said, let the birds. He created the birds in the air. And the I think 124 now says that the moving animals. So if you still go to the doctor, they will still tell you fish, priority, after fish, poultry, and last beef. So what is written from the beginning is still what we're eating today. So it's very crucial we pay attention to the spiritual sides of agriculture, and not, especially if you're going into production, please pay attention.
Be more sensitive.
Yeah, and I ask you, because we're spiritual in Nigeria. You are either a Muslim, a Christian, or you do traditional beliefs. And so we pray to God, but without over spiritualizing things. to say, Lord, what do I do? COVID now has created a lot of opportunities. So if you are a spiritual person, you should ask your God, what should I do? Because I had an experience. I had a project and I was sleeping and I saw it like a film, clear. I woke up, I went to find the location. I got there and it was massive land, and I invested heavy. I raised money and I farmed, and I began to have problems. But the people I supported did very well. So I said, Lord, how far now? This is death. You know, I began to weep and cry because I couldn't handle what was happening. And I heard God tell me, I showed you the project. You didn't wait for strategy on how to do it. And I said, I said, no, the strategy for this project is for you to go and support the farmers, not for you to run the project. But you did not ask me. You know,
no wonder they were doing well.
They did well. I did one in Shepherdary. I think that was 2015. That broke the camel's back. And so there was just a narrow straight road on the farm that can hardly take 2 cars. So one was a pivot type of irrigation, and the other was sprinkler. So I chose the sprinkler, and we funded about 25 farmers to produce. So they produced, but along the line, I got some northerners from Niger, 21 or 22 of them. They ran away. They just ran. We were paying them double of their salary and co. They ran away and were stranded. And guess what? All the farmers opposite, the least of them spent 250,000 on 1 hectare watermelon. The least that didn't make money made ₦500,000 naira, as 100%, you know, profit margin.
Yes.
Some did 1 million, some did 1.1 million on 20 acres. But me, that I funded them, I lost a lot of money because God had told me then that, hey, I don't want you to farm. I want you to support people. You know, so when I lost that money, and I was like, okay, Lord, now I've heard. So I'm telling you today to pay attention. Don't rush to the opportunities that COVID present, especially if you're a spiritual person. If you're not a spiritual person and you don't believe, please discard what I've said, and go with what
you feel.
You know, because it won't work for you. But if you're a spiritual person, it won't cost you anything. Muslim, Christian, whatever. If you're spiritual, ask God and follow the direction. So these are things they won't teach you in schools. Where do you market? Every beginning of the year, because many times I don't, beginning of the year I will always say, Lord, what will sell this year? I don't assume that I have knowledge, I have expertise, I've been trained in many foreign countries. I say, Lord, what will sell? And there was a particular year I heard in Yoruba, a palomata, meaning granite will sell. And every year, I may not say this, but I just feel it's time to say some other things. People may celebrate some things outside, but they do not know the inner thing that works. And every year God tells me, this is what will sell. And I start my operations in a year with that. So if you're a spiritual person, you may want to emulate that. The peanut butter, which is not a Nigerian product, George Washington Carver was developed it, and he got over 300 products. And he said, he told God, if you read his is it biography or autobiography? He said, Lord, show me the peanuts. He was a scientist, a chemist, and God showed him how he could take the peanut to the laboratory, and he produced over almost 300 produce from it. So I'm not talking about a Nigerian thing. So I'm just appealing to you, don't waste money. Peradventure you belong to a faith. Don't waste money because of the opportunities COVID will present. Ask your God and pray about it. I may not discuss this ever again, but I just feel I should let out some of the things that work for me beyond science.
Secrets.
Yeah. So after I hear what to do, I now bring science to make it work. So that's some of the things they don't teach you. I think the phone lines have been buzzing.
Wow. Lagos Talks. Good evening.
African farmer.
Oh
Yeah,
my
good
God.
evening.
Good evening, sir. Anyway, you're an African farmer, and I'm not surprised by everything you're talking about. I don't know some of them. There's some people who are free to farm for them, they go to farm for them.
Yeah.
All of that. And I don't believe in all of that. I
Yeah.
don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. That's true. But I know a lot of things can happen. But actually, I have a different question generally concerning what I'm talking about now.
Okay.
It's about this right now.
Okay.
You know, because of this COVID now, nobody wanted to get right some things, for instance, in the last week, because of infected dry. And I also ask, all the years I've been planting for the past 2-3 years now, the federal government, alcohol borrowers, whatever, don't they have enough in the that they can even put to the people? And you have to wait until we tell the custom to push out some of these fees. Right. And initially, people custom fed.
Titilope, be fast, please. Please wrap up.
Okay, so I've been hoping nobody would talk to me about that rice that they said was bad. But let me explain this. And I don't have first-hand information, but from experience, I know what's likely to happen is most of the rice, they're expired from their source, either India, Vietnam, and co. However, they preserve them. So what I believe, I use the word believe happened, is that I'm not sure that intentionally federal government sent the bad rice, but it had been seized and in a warehouse for a long time, and not they didn't use insecticides and co to preserve it. So as at the point of distribution, it might have been heavily infested by weevils. So I don't think it was deliberate. It was just
Storage.
because it was storage.
Yeah.
And they were not storing, they were storing to destroy. You know, so that's what happened.
All right.
Hello.
Lagos Talks. Good evening.
Good evening, my brother. This is Adamu from Aja.
All right, Adamu. Go ahead with your question.
Please, that's my brother over there. Before I said anything, please, Nigerians need your number. You are the pure pastor we see. Let me tell you, you may think you are talking to farmers like you. You are not talking to only farmers.
Okay.
We are talking to people like us that is doing business, buying and selling. Let me tell you, my brother, you are straightly taken to me. Me in particular. This channel, they brought you to this channel just because of me.
Wow.
On a serious, you will never understand what they are saying in that place. Will you believe me? I just got inside my car to go somewhere, and I took this my satellite channel for me to know what they are telling us this evening, for me to hear your voice. And then I heard where you are going. My brother, do you know I parked along the road just to listen to you. I wind up. I shifted my chair very well just to listen where you are going. My brother, you may think you are just talking, but you don't know what you are saying. You are hearing many people this night, this evening. People like me, let me tell you, many things is going through my head. And God sent you to me, to talk to me. It's a long story. But before I talk, let me say, please, we need, or me, okay, me, I need your number.
Okay, we'll share the number later.
We'll share the
Please,
number.
Thank you.
my brother, for the past, since 1995, I'm a pure businessman. I was offloading every day, selling, making money. People, everybody that knows me is seeing me as a big man, as a rich man. But will you believe that I cannot, I find it is hard to feed my family.
Wow.
Where I'm living now, people thought I'm the owner of that place. They don't know I'm not the owner. If I go where we are selling goods, people are seeing me like a god. They don't know that I don't have my own 500,000.
Wow.
of 100 million naira. And I find it difficult to pay people I'm going. And we are selling. If I'm telling you, since 1995, we are offloading steady, we are offloading. You will sell. People will buy. People will give you money. My brother, at the end, I find it difficult to eat.
Wow.
Because I don't believe in spiritual something. I've never gone to any babalawo in my life to pray self in the night. Now I don't do myself. In the morning, I just wake up in the morning with my boys. We go to the market.
Anyway.
I'm a Catholic.
Yeah.
I go to church on Sundays. I believe that is God. That God knows me, knows my heart. You understand?
Yeah.
I don't believe. Sometimes I'll be asking myself, must I put my hand in something for my mom? I don't know what to say.
All right.
So
all I know is that I need help.
Okay, so we'll get the number.
Everything will get worse, and the thing is getting worse.
Don't worry.
Already.
We'll get the number, but it's also in the Bible that the children of Israel, they put the blood on the lintel, and Pharaoh, Egyptians died, their first children died, and the children of Israel were preserved.
Yeah.
And there was scarcity in Egypt, but there was no scarcity in Goshen, where the children of God were. So, bottom line is that there are some things that may be informed. We don't have the information, and when we have the information, it works. And so, today I slept really, and that's the truth.
Yeah.
I slept, and I was thinking of what do I present today, and it was as if talk about farming by revelation, what they don't teach them in agribusiness school. And you don't need to go to any pastor, any priest. You sit down yourself with some knowledge and pray and resolve all these things. And so we'll share the number after the program.
Please, if you can just drop it first, because I want to start my car and be going where I'm going.
Yeah.
I just
Okay. Zero.
Because it's like you're talking to me.
All right, so here are the numbers.
0809 7222.
Sorry, easy,
0809
Okay, 0809
7000 222.
322.
Yes. So you can reach out. Thank you.
All right, that was who was that? Adam.
My sister, thank you very much.
Adam,
right.
Thanks for calling. His name is Adam, but he has an Eastern accent completely.
It sounds Eastern. Okay, I think. Yeah.
Let's go back to the phone lines. Lagos Talks.
Hello.
Yes. Good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Lawal Yusuf.
Lawal Yusuf. Join the conversation.
I'll be trying to learn and to learn practically from African farmer. I just need his help, how he can handle it. I want to learn practically.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been into vegetable from 2008 to 2013, and I stopped, and I come back to Lagos. Since then, I've stopped, and I wanted to go back. I don't want to do try and error again. I just want to learn practically again. To know the new integrated in the family.
Okay, so the numbers are, excuse me,
0809 7222. That's 0809 7222. I'm sure when you call African Farmer, he would engage you.
We can sort that out.
Yeah. Lagos Talks, good evening.
Oh, Mitchell and African Farmer, good evening.
Good evening.
Very good thanks to Mogaji. This is my first time. I didn't even know your name all this while. I've been calling you African Farmer.
That's my name too, sir.
Yes. You have Congress on the line.
Okay, sir.
Honestly, wisdom will not kill you. I'm telling you the gospel truth.
Amen.
Because what you are saying is, my father is alive, is a farmer. I'm a son of a farmer. All of us, none of us in a family as a son and daughter to the man that will never pass through farm before you go to anywhere you want to go. So you know that if you share boundary with someone with your acre of cassava, grass cutter will finish your own farm and the other farm, nothing will happen to you. You finish from the beginning of that farm to the end. Grass cutter will finish the farm. Honestly speaking. So it is more spiritual. That is why when people talk about New Yam Festival, they don't know what it involves.
Exactly.
They
Exactly.
don't know what it involves. New Yam Festival in that our area, the New Yam Festival. Even in the Bible, do you know that people sacrifice their children as God of the farm?
Yeah.
For them.
Yes.
In the Bible, in the scripture, Old Testament, they have a special God for that.
Yeah.
So, my dear, you are so deep. I respect you. Though some Christians will disagree with you.
Oh,
that
it's
is the
okay.
fact.
It's okay.
Thank you very much. God
Thank
bless
you.
you.
Thank you. All right, let's read some messages. This is coming from Wale Lotsun too on Twitter, and you're saying, hashtag African Farmer, God bless you for revealing these mysteries and secrets. African Farmer, that CSR will open ways for you, because I have benefited a lot from that on farm settlements, and the spiritual leading aspect is absolutely key. I agree with you 100%. Great job. Lagos Talks.
Hello, good evening, African Farmer.
Good evening.
So you're such a great guy.
What's your name, please?
Thank you, sir.
I'm Rotimi from Midimon.
All right, Rotimi, go ahead.
Incidentally, I'm a journalist, and my dad was a very successful cocoa farmer way back in Ondo State. And we used to go to spend holidays on the farm. Everything you said, fantastic. But you see, whenever my father was a very big cocoa farmer, you know Ondo State very well.
Yeah.
I guess you're from Ondo State, right? African farmer.
Well, I used to be from Ondo State. I'm from Ekiti now.
Okay, now, all right. They stole you away from us.
Yes, sir.
Now, you see, even big time cocoa farmers normally have some sites for food crops, like gari, palm produce, and stuff like that. And during harvest seasons, a lot of the harvests are set aside for everybody along the way in town. You know, the villages, we leave the village and we come to the main town.
Yes.
And then everybody, which is part of the CSR work. The African farmer, let me link you up to the production of herbs and leaves, and which is still part of the food culture.
Okay.
If you agree with me, vegetables, which are all very medicinal, very curative, which we in Africa have been made to abandon due to our over-westernization. I don't know if you are aware now. The reason why the COVID-19 is not ravaging Africa, from my own perspective and understanding as a son of a successful cocoa farmer, is that we've abandoned our food culture, which is worsening strange diseases, diabetes in the cities, which is what is making them to just die like rats abroad. But you see, I don't know what people like you can do to promote an aggressive research into the development of our alternative herbal medicine, which is also part of the food that we eat. Is in the Bible. God said He created herbs for our own well-being. But over-westernization has made us to abandon all that.
All right.
Because in
thank you.
conclusion, sorry, let me. You see, even in bone setting, child delivery, it is there in the food and alternative herbs. Then our government is not doing anything, just like Senegal now.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, we lost that. You know, there are a lot of things in our spiritual books that we don't pay attention to. I was doing President Obasanjo's tenure the second time. I was saying, Lord, how do I take care of this unemployment? It's alarming. And He said to me, He said Genesis 9:20. And Noah began to become a farmer. You know, after the flood, he didn't know, there was nothing to do, so he planted vineyard, he processed the vineyard and drank. Yeah, let's leave the end of the story. But he began to become a farmer. That when you're about to retire and you don't know what to do, you can begin to become a farmer, not rush into farming. And when you are unemployed, you can step into the agribusiness value chain. And I did a lot of things then, and it worked. There are a lot of principles in our spiritual books that we need to pay attention to get the result. And you'll be amazed, Mexico is still very strong, and India, with using their spiritual books to back what they do in agribusiness.
Wow.
And I've used that a lot. It gives seed to the sower. I'll share this story. I was looking for cucumber seeds, and I listened to a television program, kind of Egan, and the daughter just said, he gives seed to the sower and bread to the eater. And that word to me was like new. And so I was thinking about it, and I went to Mile 12. I just went to greet my people every Monday. And so they told me that, they want me to speak to somebody to explain the kind of seeds they need. So the person didn't pick up the call.
Okay.
The person is in Netherlands, trying to confirm the type of seeds. So when they called, the lady called me later. I was on my way to Abeokuta, and I told her this is the kind of seeds we need. And she said, oh, that exact seed is already in Nigeria. It has been cleared. If you go to our office in Ibadan, you will be the first to buy that variety. Meanwhile, in Nigeria, then, that was 2010, there was no cucumber in Nigeria. We could not even find it in Benin Republic. But yet, I just heard it gives seed to the sower and bread to, and you just don't know me. Oh, so in about almost 15, 17 years then, it was God that was giving me seed. And I said, Lord, give me cucumber seed. And I went to Mile 12, and in less than 48 hours, I bought that seed. That seed, okay, don't let me mention, so that people don't go and buy it. But bottom line is that these things happen. Put God first. If you believe it, fine. If you don't believe it, work with your science. But stay with that science and work what works. That's what I'm saying. So if you're a spiritual person, please pay attention. Just consider that what I'm saying may work. In about 20 years, I've seen a lot in this direction. A lot in this direction. Even in Mowe, I speak to you, even in Mowe, about a month ago, somebody's farm, they went to put a charm there so that the person will not do well. We're in Africa. It's a peculiar environment. I'm not saying this, and I'm not saying go to an herbalist or go to your imam or your pastor. These are things, information. If you don't have this information, wrong diagnosis, if you are having stomach pain and they are giving you sleeping pill, it doesn't work. But this information it may work, and you can take care of this. And in fact, because I've done a lot of science around the metaphysical, and I know that what you believe works. But if you don't know, how do you believe
and get the results?
So what I'm saying, if you say, okay, it's real, it may be real to him, I don't believe in it, but when you go with the mindset that no matter what happens, it won't affect me, that already gives you the foundation. That information helps you. Ignorance, zeal without knowledge, will kill you. So, but these things is happening in all these rural communities, and I'm saying if you are going into production, please pay attention. If you are practicing fish farming, when the women come to your farm and they don't buy, they price you low and they don't buy, if a fish farmer is listening, please call to say is no. You would not find anybody else to buy your fish.
Say again.
You will not find anybody else to buy your fish. They would either still buy at that same price that the initial person priced it, or nobody comes because many of them are they are flying. There's a call. If a fish farmer, it happens a lot in Nigeria's fish farming.
Lagos, we have to talk about that. Lagos Talks.
Yes, thank you, Michelle, for picking my call. This is Adeyemi again.
All right. Adeyemi.
Yes, African traditional farmer now.
Yes.
Thank you for the expose.
Thank you.
You know, you've opened our eyes. But I have a question for you.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes. Why do you think that, as you said, this is no longer happening in America? You said it used to happen like that in America.
Yes.
Why is it no longer happening in America?
Civilization took that off. Because I've read a lot of books and I read a lot of Christian books, you know, but they were just like us. You know, all these occult things used to be there, you know, but civilization took all those things away. And if you check it, even we, if you are 50,
it's not as much as it was before.
If you are 50 and below, 50, if you tell a 15-year-old that these things happen, they're like, no way. It's just the movies that show them that these things happen.
Exist,
but if you are 50 to like 40 and you to like 35 and you've had some exposures in the villages, you know that these things exist, but it may not be real to you. But my children, over time, all these things will fade off. Just like I said, the woman that invested in a poultry farm, you know, I think the generation that sold the land to her didn't believe in all those things. And after some time, you know, so civilization will get all these things off with time. Yeah. Because we're getting more urbanized. Internet is a fantastic thing, you know, so, but we will get over it. But for now, you may still need to pay attention to it. Because the people who are investing in farming, they are not the 17 to 25. They are the above, you know, that are doing this. So, but civilization has taken care of those. All
right, more messages here for you, sir. So this is coming from Kane in Ajao Estate, and you're saying, good evening, African farmer Mogaji and Michelle. Please, I want to get some sweet corn for planting, sir. I wouldn't mind paying for it.
Okay, yeah, I like I wouldn't mind paying for it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not free.
Of course not. Of course not.
But you can call 0809 7222 and place your order and we'll look at it. Yeah. Please don't forget, we have someone who has crates of eggs to sell. If you can help push it, that works. Too, yeah. And please, if you come across anybody that finds it difficult to sell any farm produce during this COVID or after, please reach out to us. We would connect them. You know, that's why we engage this program.
Of course. Okay, Comrade Anthony from Egbeda is asking or saying about the machine that refused to work or start until libations were poured. I now understand why the generator in the company I earlier worked in suddenly stopped and refused to pick up until some spiritual things were done by my boss. LOL. Bringing back memories for him. All right. Adelaja Frederick, you're saying, I have been following this program for a while. I'm always happy listening to a Nigerian tell us more about agriculture. I am in my late teens and I'm really motivated to go into farming. Thank you so much and God bless you for the enlightenment.
Let me tell you a true life story. Itoikin is the end of Lagos to Ogun, where you had the ADC flight crash some years back. You know, they have 5 water pumps there. One of those water pumps, these massive canals, one of the water pumps, we were pumping water through the canal, and a child was swimming in the canal. So when light goes, the machine draws the water. I'm talking about maybe like 5 kilometers, draws the water back until the power. But that child was drawn into the machine and the machine shredded the child.
No way.
And I was told the story in 1995 until tomorrow. Out of the 5 water pumps, that pump, no matter how much we spent money, when I went back in 1998 when I went to farm there. I spent a lot of money to revive that pump. They did everything, but that thing didn't work. It was after I left that the families came and said that pump will never work because it's taking our son's life. It has not worked till tomorrow. In a toy king, I stand to be corrected. I won't mention the common parastatal there, but I stand to be corrected. If you're operating around the toy king, ask where there is a big farm and go and corroborate this thing. These things are real. There's nothing they didn't do to appease. They said no, it has taken a life, it will not work, and that machine has not worked till date. Please prove me wrong.
Let's wrap up. This is coming from Nosa_Uswan Lele, and you're saying, you guys, African Farmer Lagos Talks, you guys are doing a great job. When I was working with some Indians, whenever the company buys a new equipment for production, the Indians celebrate. Having a ceremony by breaking coconuts on the equipment is very real to them. All right, thank you. Lagos Talks, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, I mean, now I used to forget.
Okay.
What African farmer said about the fish farm is real, 100% real, because during my time that I was doing vegetable, my boss also normally doing catfish farming, and I left catfish production from him then. So that thing is real. Once they come, you first of all negotiate with them, align with them before they come. Take them as party or get friends before they come. When their Oga comes, they have Oga.
Yeah.
Those people operate in cooperative.
Yeah.
Once they come, they price, and then that's the end. If you don't sell today, another person cannot buy more than what they bargain from you. That is it. Africanfarmer, please, I need training. Connect me. Please, I need training. I don't want to gamble again. Please, I'm begging you.
No problem.
All right,
no
Yusuf,
problem.
thank you so much for calling. We have to wrap up.
Yeah, so these things are real. Please, if you believe in the spiritual world, ask what will sell this year. What should I do? How? It's more important you ask how. So you will hear them say, David will say, should I pursue? And God will say yes. He will ask again, will I overtake? Two different things. Should I pursue? Yes. Will I overtake? Will I conquer? They are two different things. So pay attention to strategy. When you get divine strategy, things work. Every year when I ask, things happen. I may still lose money that year, but the money I will make from the leading I get is sure. 2019, when the rain fell, we didn't have anything on the farm that could be affected big time, because we reduced our production because I just felt that something was not right. 2020, 2020, as people are crying, we're not crying. We're selling watermelons with funded farmers. We're selling 70 acres of watermelon as I speak. We're not really able to move to Lagos as we should, but we're selling big time on the farm because of divine strategy. The whole idea was to bring it to Lagos. And so we're a bit jittery, but because we had what to do. If it was corn that we wanted to do 30 acres of corn, we wouldn't have been able to sell the corn because it's sweet corn and it has to be brought to Lagos, but we can't really distribute the way we would distribute. So get divine strategy if you believe. If you don't believe, work with data and science, but get it right. Data and science is crucial. But after you, and don't be pleased, when you get like divine leading, you must back it up with science, because that's just what you should do. But the how to get the result, That is data and science
and research.
Yeah. So don't just say, oh, I've heard what to do. It is dry season and I'm praying for rain. No. There's irrigation. You need to learn how to use irrigation, which type of irrigation to use. But bottom line is, I put over 20 years on the line with this. I learned a lot from my dad. Quoted on the stock exchange. Okay, that one, I won't tell that story. It's in my book coming out, Farming by Revelation. You need to just, if you're going to production, farm by revelation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, African Farmer, for coming by today. But before I go, Solomon Oja on Twitter is saying, African Farmer M, please, can you talk more about the Naira and incense burning? You also mentioned a book you wrote and the second part of the book you are writing. Yes, indeed. We would have more for you when we come back next week. We'll take it from here.
Yeah.
It's been an explosive conversation with you, African Farmer, and I would always say this, that's the beauty of having you around. It gets better every Monday. It's a pleasure seeing you, hearing you talk passionately. It's inspiring. It's inspiring. And I just want to say thank you for blessing Lagosians with this knowledge.
I may not say this on air again, but I give God the glory. And don't forget, we need to help somebody sell eggs.
Oh yeah,
this week,
please. So if you have a market or logistics to move the eggs to the right estate, if you're in an estate that is big and your neighbors would like maybe 2 or 3 crates of egg each, please contact him. Like he said, his number is 0809 7000 222. That's 0809 7000 222.
Or at African Farmer M.
Yeah, you can send a message on Twitter. That's at African Farmer M. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing conversation, African Farmer. We'll be back next week, Monday, from 5:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. We'll give you so much time today, African
Thank
Farmer.
you to Lagos Store.
Oh, yeah. Stay tuned. Coming up next at the top of the hour will be the world news, so stay tuned for that. And remember, we have a live broadcast of President Muhammadu Buhari today as he addresses the nation. Don't be told, listen live on Lagos Talks 91.3.